Alright, today we're going to be talking about lesson 32, and there's two concepts that we're going to be going over today. It's expanded notation and elapsed time. We've done a little bit on elapsed time before, but this is a little bit different. We're expanding on that, so hopefully you can build on what you already know and it'll make sense. But before we do that, let's go ahead and talk about expanded notation. Here's example number 1. Example 1. Okay, in order to do expanded notation, you have to understand place value. And where a digit is placed determines the value. So if we have, let's say, 2,145, you have to know that this is in the ones place, the 5 is in the ones place, the 4 is in the tens, 1 is in the hundreds, 2 is in the thousands place. If the 2 were in the 10,000s place, it would have a completely different meaning. Where the digits are in relation to the decimal point determines their value. That's why they call it place value. Where they're placed determines their value. Okay, so if we want to write this number in expanded notation, you start with the largest number first, which in this case is a 2 that's in the 10,000 spot. So you're going to write 2 times the place value, the name of the place value, so that's 10,000s. This 2 goes there. Does it make sense where I got that 2? I got it from the number in the largest place value, so that would be 2. So that's where I got that. The 10,000, that's the name of this place value. So this is in the 10,000 spot, so I multiply it by 10,000. I'm going to add that to 2. This 2 came from the 1 in the 1,000 spot. So since this 2 is in the 1,000 spot, then I'm going to multiply it by 1,000. Okay? This is why they call it expanded notation, because it expands out large. So I'm going to be running out of room here in a second. But the 1 is in the hundreds spot. So this 1 goes right there, and multiply that by 100. Okay? The 4 is in the 10 spot. Hopefully I don't run out of room here. So I'm going to add that. 4 times 10, because I got the 4 from there. And the 10 I got from the fact that the 4 is in the 10 spot. And the last one is 5, and I'm going to multiply that by 1, because it's in the 1 spot. Alright, so that's expanded notation. Hopefully it makes sense. It expands out. So let's do a couple more practice problems. So let's do another one. This is example number 2. So let's go 473. The 4 is in the hundreds spot. So let's write, I'm going to write above it, hundreds. The 7 is in the tens, 3 is in the ones. Okay? So if I want to expand that out, I'm going to take 4 times, the 4 is in the hundreds spot, so I'm going to write 100 right next to the 4. That's why I wrote 100 there. I'm going to add that to the next one, which is 7, which is in the 10 spot, and 3, which is in the 1 spot. What did I do wrong? When two parentheses are directly next to each other with nothing in between them, it's implied that it's multiplying. So make sure that you put an addition sign in between each term. Boom, boom, boom. Alright. Alright, I clearly ran out of time yesterday to finish this video, so it's a new day, new outfit, same video. Hopefully that doesn't distract you too much. Let's talk about elapsed time. Alright, so in elapsed time, you'll have a problem like this. Jason started a marathon at 7:15 a.m. and ended at 11:10 a.m. There's two numbers, and there's an equation that will help us find out what our how much time has elapsed from 7:15 a.m. to 11:10 a.m. So we have later, earlier, and then the difference between the two. Earlier, that's what happened like early, a long time ago. What happened later, that means more time has elapsed since what happened earlier. Later, that just means something that happened in the near past, which something that just recently passed, that happened later than something that happened earlier. So what is early for this situation? In this situation, 7:15 a.m. is earlier than 11:10 a.m. So we're going to take 7:15 and we're going to put that in for early. 7:15. We're going to subtract that from what happened earlier at or later at 11:10, and that will give us how much time has elapsed since Jason started the marathon. Okay, so how you do this is you have to realize that 60 minutes is equal to 1 hour. Okay? So let's take 15 and subtract it from 10. You can't, which means you have to borrow an hour and put it over here. So I'm going to take an hour away from this side of the time, and I'm going to put it over here. So I'm going to take 60 minutes, which is an hour, and put it over here. But we already have 10 minutes, so we're going to have to take 60, that's an hour, plus the 10 minutes we already have. Okay? So 60 plus 10 is 70. So now it will be 70 minutes. Alright, if you heard a little bit of noise in the background, that some teachers came in and they were talking about a door. Anyway, I will continue. So we're going to take, now we have enough, now we can subtract, now that we borrowed from the hours and put them in the minutes slot. So we're going to take 70 minus 15, and that is going to be 55. Okay? And then we're going to take 10 minus 7, which is 3. So it almost took Jason 4 hours to run the marathon. It actually took him 3 hours and 55 minutes. That's the difference, which is really fast for a marathon. Now let's say we're going to use the same problem, but let's say that you know when he started the marathon and you know how long it took him to run it, but you don't know when he ended. Alright, we do know because the problem has already told us. In this situation, it's just algebra. So this would be x. And if you have a difference and you have the subtrahend, you can just add these two numbers together in order to get what happened in the first place. Alright, so what you're going to do is you're going to take 7:15, and you're going to add how long it took him to run the marathon to see what time he finished the marathon. So let's add this up. Okay, 70 minutes, and then 7 plus 3, that's 10 o'clock, 10:70. Okay, now we're going to go backwards. We know that 70 minutes is the same as 60 minutes plus 10 minutes. The reason why I picked 60 is I know that that is an hour. So 70 minutes is the same as 1 hour plus 10 minutes. Okay, so we're going to take 1 hour and add it in here. So now let's make this into an 11, and then our 10 minutes that are left over are going to go there. So that means that he ended his marathon at 10 a.m. And this is really fast for a marathon. I definitely cannot run a marathon in 3 hours and 55 minutes. I don't know if I could bike a marathon in 3 hours and 55 minutes. That's really fast. Alright, so that's a little bit on elapsed time, so hopefully that helps. You guys have an awesome night.